it's going to be the same squad as Aberdeen on Sunday, so thankfully that's the case. No more injuries, so looking forward to the game and see what team I decide to go with.
So how important is it? You spoke about the relief at the end in the home run. How important to sail off with a victory and leave the fans with something at the end of the season?
Yeah, last home game it is important that we put a performance, but the most important thing is that we get 3 points. Like Sunday, it was important because I was sick of hearing people going on about how long, but rightfully so, because it was far too long without on. So we got that 3 points. Thoroughly deserved, a really good second half performance, and then we need to carry that. Obviously not the game against Dundee United.
I'm sure you're fed up answering similar questions about your future in the job, and has there been any movement? We see reports linking other men to the manager's job this morning. Have you given any update?
You know, there's always going to be speculation in terms of the update on myself. That's going to remain private, but I'm sure you'll see over the course of the next few days. Hopefully there's going to be a bit of movement, because I've mentioned a number of times it has to get moving in terms of who's going to be the manager. Because of the pre-season coming up, there's clearly the contract, there's the back loan, etc., etc., etc. So hopefully in the next few days we'll be clear on what's going to happen.
Sky, sorry, do you expect this to be your last game at Ibrox?
You never know. What I need to do is I need to remain as professional as possible, and that's what I'll always do. That's what I've done since the first day I stepped into the training centre, is always be professional, made sure that my teams and all my players are professional, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Barry, can you tell us, Barry, Barry, can you tell us who you had the conversation with in terms of what happens next for you?
It never says it. There's no, I said a couple of weeks ago I had a conversation. I've ever had a conversation since, but I'd just rather keep that private. But I'm sure, as I said, over the coming days, I would say in the next week, I'm sure you'll see something move forward.
And then for you with the players, there's some players out of contract and they're feeling the uncertainty of what you can say on them.
Yeah, listen, I've got to understand that as well. It is difficult for the players, but again, I've got to be fair to the players. They've been really professional. That's all I can keep drumming into them. Of course, it's difficult for everybody. Not just the players, the Stamford about the training centre, and the Ibrox, and most importantly, the supporters. But looks, things are starting to move. That's the most important thing.
Do you now have the clarity you were looking for, Barry? About yourself?
Clarity in terms of
what's happening with yourself?
There's not been any discussions in terms of what's going to happen with myself. What I do know is things are starting to move, and hopefully, as I said, over the coming days or weeks, we'll be really clear on what way the club's going to be default.
In any twin leagues with the club, the managerial position is Davide Ancelotti. Is that a name that you've heard of? You and any discussed?
I don't know anything about him. If I'm being honest, I know his dad, his assistant. His dad, what I know is his dad's one of the best managers, and there's always going to be speculation. There's been speculation since I've come in. I've no issue with that. That's just the way it operates up here in the west of Scotland. It says all I can do is just focus on me doing the job as best as I can, and then we'll see where it takes us.
You've said a few times that you've been in this club now, in this role for a month or two. You've obviously kept such a keen eye on the club over the years. You know what this club needs. Do you think that it is a role that it's for a more experienced manager, or could a novice manager be successful, like we saw with Steven Gerrard a few years ago?
Yeah. So you're saying I'm a novice, basically, with very serious. Not to say I could answer the job, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I could have the job, no problem. But in terms of, I get everybody's got an opinion on who's going to be wanting for the job, or who's going to get the job. I have no issues with that. And what I'm saying to you, and what I've said to everybody in here, this job isn't scaring the one single bit, because I know there's a hell of a lot of work to be done. I'm lucky enough to be in there, don't really know what's needed, and I've always been clear on that.
There's been some top names, obviously Ancelotti, the latest one, Barry, but would you back yourself against any of them to do the job that's required to?
Yeah, of course. Always back myself.
Aye. Presidents and prime ministers quite often will leave a note or desk for those who are going to follow them. If it's not going to be you get the job, what would your note to desk say about a squad?
About the squad in general.
Yeah.
Look, whoever gets the job, whether it's me or somebody else, I've said for day one, I'll always support them. This is my club. It's been a proud few months for me. If I don't get the job, I'll still be at Ibrox next year. And I'll still be supporting the club and whoever's in the dugout.
But would you say that a key component for managing Rangers though is there something that you have, whoever that is, whether it's yourself or somebody else, they have to grasp the meaning of this club to the supporters and what it means to be at Rangers, and that winning is the be all and end all. It can't just be somebody that's here as a project. It has to be something that they come here with the intention of winning.
This is building you winning. And we need to start winning. That's been the issue here. And that's clearly why there's a number of managers that have lost their job over the years. So Rangers need to get back to challenging and winning trophies. That's there for everybody to see. I'm not hiding it. And I'm sure that the changes have been made. They realise that. The supporters realise that. I certainly realise it. And it's a big job. It's a big job, but it's also a brilliant job to have. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and hopefully my things are starting to move. We'll hopefully see soon what's going to happen.
What kind of period of grace do you think the new owners will get next year in terms of how long do you think they'll get?
The big thing I will say is it's not a project. You need to start winning straight away. That's it. You don't get time here. You're in terms of you've got the summer that won't build a new squad, whatever way you want to build it, sorry. But you need to go off to a very fast start, and you need to make sure you win as many games as possible.
From the conversations you've had, do you think the people that will be in charge next season, do they understand that need to win next season?
Yeah, of course they understand. And they'll be crazy now to understand. Because, as I mentioned before, it's been far too long that Rangers have not been challenging. A trophy here and there, let's be honest, it's not good enough. It needs to be winning. We need to be winning trophies every single season. I'm talking about where there's doubles or where there's trebles. You need to be at least challenging, but I'm not challenging for that. So that certainly needs to change.
Do you feel your leadership, this squad has taken a step closer to kind of re-challenge you again, or is it going to take a whole summer with you, Chuck?
Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time in terms of, I just mentioned, maybe I should have been contradicting myself, but you need a pre-season going build on what you're going to go forward. I come in a difficult period where I've had to change the system a number of times, but to be fair to the players that have got used to that, the group of players understand that it's not been good enough this year and we need to improve, and there is going to be a lot of changes. That's just the way it is, not just at Rangers, but a lot of clubs will make changes. So it's going to be a very, very interesting number of weeks leading into pre-season. Last couple of years.
Is the job being bigger, tougher than either you or me?
You know, I expected it to be this way, but I feel I thought he was going to come in here and it would be it would be easy. I knew it wouldn't be easy. It was every single game. Most games, should I say that? I missed a couple. But I knew the challenge of it. Has it been as good as I would have liked it? No, it's not. But I've faced a few challenges within that. I think we've dealt with the challenges pretty well. If you look back on when you suffer a defeat, it's how my team react. If you go back to the first game I had at Kilmarnock, it wasn't great the first 20-30 minutes. We come back to win that game. Following game after that against Motherwell deserved to win the game. And then you have to go and try something different against a very strong Fenerbahce team. So we've shown that we can go. I've shown as a manager, and my staff have shown that we can go and work with a team over a short period of time to try and make good results. But it needs to be on a more consistent basis. And I totally understand that. And I think whoever comes in, or whoever it's going to be, has to understand that as well.
Barry said earlier that, whoever it is needs to hit the ground running.
whoever is the new manager, will there need to be significant squad change this summer?
Yeah, there's always going to be squad changes.
Significant.
Yeah, there needs to be changes. There has to be changes. That's the case because it's obvious there's some players going to be out of contract. Loanees are going to be go back. Players are going in at the final year of their contract. Some players may want to leave because maybe they're not getting enough game time. So yeah, that's going to be the case. That there's certainly going to be, or there has to be, a number of changes.
And are these guys just in limbo just now until the ownership is sorted?
I wouldn't say that they're in limbo. They're just. It's like everybody. They just want to know what's going to be happening. But I'm sure over the course of the next few days or certainly within the next week, you'll hopefully see what way the club's going to be going. That's been luck.
Barry, when you came in, there were a few eyebrows raised at kind of lack of involvement with top flight up for a number of years. But in terms of you and the challenge that you faced tactically, you mentioned Fenerbahce, but other games New was up against a very strong Celtic team. How has that been for you and the managerial team? The test that you face, does that feel good to have come through that? There have been a few ups and downs, but generally performances have been tricky.
Yeah, well, I kind of find because I'm probably Scottish and so is my staff. If it was somebody from a different country, I think they would have got a bit more respect. But look, I know I've been up here for many years. I know how I've operates the west of Scotland. But I knew when I took the job that I could make the difference. Has it been the way that I wanted it to go? It's not been perfect. I get that. I understand that. But I think I've done okay. I can do better. But if you give me the tools to go and do that, I know it'd be a success.
You're a proud man, Barry. You know this club inside out. Does it hurt the prospect of the idea of somebody else coming in for the job? Obviously, it's a dream one for yourself.
No, I'm totally comfortable. But if you're asking me, I know I can do the job. And so if somebody else gets the job, I'll still support them and I'll still get behind them from a distance. I'll go back. People are asking what's going to happen. I'll go back to hopefully my role I had before. And then, will it hurt me? No, I'll be disappointed. I'd be lied if I'm sitting here and saying otherwise. Yeah, I'll be disappointed. But you know what? I'm a big boy. I'll get on with it and I'll move on. And then, as I said, whoever's in the job, I hope gets the full support of everybody. Because, as I said, this club's not been successful now for a number of years. And now what an opportunity you have to go and bring that success back.